Chrissy Teigen has never shied away from the unvarnished truths of life, whether it's the chaos of family dinners or the sharp edges of personal sorrow. In a recent intimate podcast appearance, she laid bare a chapter of her story that still echoes with pain and revelation, the aftermath of a devastating miscarriage. At 20 weeks into what should have been a joyous pregnancy, Teigen and her partner faced an unimaginable loss, naming their son Jack in a heartbreaking bid to honor the life that slipped away. Now, years later, she confronts the lingering shadows of that event, not just the emotional void, but the physical toll that reshaped her relationship with her body. Her admission about turning to a controversial weight loss medication amid this grief strikes at the heart of broader conversations about mental health, societal pressures on women's bodies, and the nonlinear path to recovery. The weight of loss isn't measured solely on scales. For Teigen, it manifested in a profound disconnection from her own form, a body that had once swelled with promise now left deflated and unfamiliar. She described sinking into what she called a deep depression, fixated on the remnants of pregnancy that mocked her with their emptiness. It was like carrying around a ghost of what could have been, she reflected, her voice steady but laced with the residue of those dark days. The indulgence during pregnancy, those guilt-free cravings for comfort foods and extra helpings that celebrate life's expansions, had added layers she couldn't shake off post-loss. Approximately 40 pounds clung stubbornly, a physical echo of emotional turmoil that no amount of willpower could immediately dispel. In this vulnerability, Teigen's story transcends celebrity anecdote. It's a mirror for countless women who've grappled with the intersection of grief and self-image, where mourning a child collides with the relentless demand to bounce back. Teigen's decision to explore Ozempic, a drug initially designed for diabetes management but popularized for its weight loss effects, wasn't a casual choice but a desperate grasp at control. She detailed how her body seemed completely stuck, rebelling against the routines that once worked. Gym sessions felt futile, meals a minefield of triggers tied to memories of nurturing a life that never fully arrived. I needed something to jolt me out of that stasis, to reclaim agency over this vessel that's carried so much, she explained, acknowledging the irony of seeking pharmaceutical aid in a culture that often vilifies such interventions for women. This revelation isn't an endorsement but a confession of human fragility, highlighting how loss can distort even the healthiest habits. Teigen spoke candidly about the side effects, the internal debates with her medical team, and the eventual shift toward holistic healing that incorporated therapy, nutritionists, and gentle movement practices like yoga flows tailored to trauma survivors. At the core of her narrative is a fierce reclamation of narrative control. Teigen has long been an advocate for mental health transparency, using her platform to destigmatize postpartum struggles, fertility journeys, and now, the specific anguish of miscarriage. She recounted the initial haze of denial, followed by waves of anger at her body's perceived betrayal. Support from her partner played a pivotal role. Quiet evenings where words weren't needed, just presence, helped rebuild the foundation of their bond. Yet, she didn't gloss over the isolation. Nights spent scrolling through support forums, connecting with strangers whose stories echoed her own, finding solace in shared scars. These exchanges underscored a vital truth. Grief isn't a solo endeavor. It's a communal tapestry woven from threads of empathy and endurance. Expanding on her healing arc, Teigen delved into the practical steps that bridged the gap between despair and dawn. She experimented with mindful eating, transforming meals into rituals of gratitude rather than punishment. Journaling became a sanctuary, pages filled with letters to Jack, unsent missives that poured out love, regret, and dreams deferred. Exercise evolved from obligation to exploration, incorporating hikes with family that doubled as therapy sessions amid nature's indifferent beauty. Teigen also leaned into creative outlets, channeling her inner chef to develop recipes that nourished both body and soul, like nutrient-dense smoothies blended with affirmations of self-worth. Her partnership with wellness experts emphasized body neutrality over the toxic pursuit of perfection, teaching her to honor the vessel that had braved such depths. This journey illuminated broader societal failings, as Teigen critiqued the lack of resources for miscarriage recovery. Why is there so little dialogue around the physical aftermath? We talk birth plans but not loss plans, she pondered, advocating for integrated care that addresses hormonal shifts, nutritional needs, and psychological support. Her story spotlights the double bind women face, expected to grieve quietly while swiftly returning to pre-pregnancy aesthetics. Teigen's openness challenges this, inviting a re-evaluation of beauty standards that marginalize the marks of survival. She shared anecdotes of small triumphs, slipping into a favorite dress not for validation but for joy, or posing unretouched in family photos as a defiant act of visibility. Teigen's reflections extend to her role as a mother to her living children, where the shadow of loss informs her parenting with heightened intention. Bedtime routines now include whispers of Jack's name, ensuring his memory weaves into their family's lore without overshadowing the present. She credits this integration with fostering resilience in her kids, modeling vulnerability as strength. Professionally, her cookbook empire has taken on new dimensions, with sections dedicated to comfort foods for tough days, recipes born from necessity and now shared as lifelines.